If you are doing creative work or making art as a hobby, you have probably run into these issues. Feeling like you are copying or stealing others' work, feeling like an imposter, or feeling like you are not doing original work. Austin Kleon has sold more than 1 million books and probably helped even more creatives with the struggles of creative work. I've personally gained invaluable lessons and principles from his books that I've used and still use every day for my creative career. So in today's video, I will be sharing key principles and my personal takeaways from Austin Kleon's book, Steal Like an Artist. Remember, a year from now, you wish you started today. If you have worked in the creative industry, have created art, or even followed the lawsuit of Ed Sheeran, you know stealing in art and plagiarism is extremely frowned upon. Luckily, that's not what Austin Kleon's book is about. What he's talking about is stealing like an artist. Don't straight up copy someone's work. Figure out what the thinking was behind the work and why they made the choices they did. In Austin's own words, in the beginning, we learn by pretending to be our heroes. We learn by copying. We're talking about practice here, not plagiarism. Plagiarism is trying to pass someone else's work off as your own. Copying is about reverse engineering. It's like a mechanic taking apart a car to see how it works. I think the most important distinction Austin makes here is that it's about learning and practice, not about putting what you copy out as original work. Just like illustrators and painters do, where they go to a museum and draw a sculpture or a character in a painting. They are doing it to learn, not to pass it on as their own work. As Neil Gaiman says in his famous speech, "Make good art." Most of us only find our own voices after we've sounded like a lot of other people. So don't worry about copying when you're starting out and learning. We all do that. That's the beauty of art, that it inspires others to follow. But be sure to be mindful of it when you are doing it, so it doesn't end up being plagiarism. If I'd waited to know who I was or what I was about before I started being creative, well, I'd still be sitting around trying to figure myself out instead of making things. In my experience, it's the act of making things and doing our work that we figure out who we are. I find this statement incredibly true. We can't think our way into our art. We have to do the work. It is in this act that we begin to develop a voice, a style, and figure out what we personally enjoy doing. We only find our voice by using it. Forcing originality on your work, especially if you aren't a seasoned veteran in your field, is most likely a fight you're going to lose. Actually, trying to force anything in art usually creates poor results. There will be things in your work that will resonate. There will be things in your work that will resonate. There will be things. Brain fart. There will be things that will resonate more with you. Happy accidents that will be unique to you. But don't shy away from things you're influenced by. That's part of having heroes you look up to. I personally think that's part of the job of an artist, to inspire a new generation that builds on top of your work. As Austin Kleon says in the book, if we are free from the burden of trying to be completely original, we can stop trying to make something out of nothing, and we can embrace influence instead of running away from it. Don't just steal the style, steal the thinking behind the style. You don't want to look like your heroes, you want to see like your heroes. Learning to see like your heroes is a giant part of evolving as an artist. You will have moments when this happens. If you're studying storytelling and watching films, there are things in the storytelling that will begin to be obvious to you that other people won't see. If you're making music, you will notice details, rhythms and instruments that others might not. And that is true for all sorts of disciplines. Steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination. Devour old films, new films, music, books, paintings, photographs, poems, dreams, random conversations, architecture, bridges, street signs, trees, clouds, bodies of water, light and shadow. Select only things to steal from that speak directly to your soul. If you do this, your work and theft will be authentic. Inspiration and ideas can come from anywhere. A couple of years ago, I created a fake title sequence inspired by Genghis Khan and the Mongolian Empire. It's not like Genghis Khan is a hero of mine, but I'm fascinated by him and his empire. I try to get into his mind and understand the motivations behind his action, which gave me a ton of ideas that then turned into the premise of my story and the visuals of my project. By just reflecting on why a painter uses a color, a shape, a composition, an object, and so on, will give you clues on how you can develop ideas for your own work. In reality, the hero I actually stole from was Patrick Clare, who is famous, at least in my field, for creating some of the most iconic title sequences, like True Detective and Westworld. I've read whatever interview I could about him, and one of my many takeaways about the way he works is that he tries to hide the story within the imagery of the titles. Like in True Detective, the story is about broken characters trying to be whole. He uses symbolism very deliberately to reflect the story in the titles. I tried to steal that thinking for my piece. How could I reflect the story of Genghis Khan in the imagery? What symbols could be used to reflect the story, and so on. Well, enough about my work, let's get back to Austin's. The reason to copy your heroes and their style is so that you might somehow get a glimpse into their minds. That's what you really want, to internalize their way of looking at the world. If you just mimic the surface of somebody's work without understanding where they're coming from, your work will never be anything more than a knockoff. As I said earlier, the way to actually find your own style is to do the work. Austin's take is this: draw the art you want to see, start the business you want to run, play the music you want to hear, write the books you want to read, build the products you want to use, do the work you want to see done. You know what inspires you. You know your own taste. The thing that's absolutely your own is your taste. So create work that fits it. Create something you want to see in the world, something that satisfies your taste. And if you have no idea where to begin, experiment, play and copy. You don't have to show people your work in progress. But I promise you will learn something from just getting your hands dirty. It might not produce your desired outcome, but it will give you direction and experience. And it will also get you closer to understanding why you like something in other people's art. Here's Austin's simple 2-step formula. But there's only one not so secret formula that I know. Do good work and share it with people. It's a 2-step process. Step 1, do good work. It's incredibly hard. There are no shortcuts. Make stuff every day. Know you're going to suck for a while. Fail, get better. Step 2, share it with people. It was really hard up until about 10 years ago or so. Now it's very simple. Put your stuff on the internet. If it were easy, everybody would do it. It might sound simple to just do the work, but of course it isn't. But it's what you need to do if you want a life in the arts. Learn to embrace the suck, and when you're ready to share your work online, you never know how people will respond to your work. And if they don't respond well, take Austin's advice. So get comfortable with being misunderstood, disparaged or ignored. The trick is to be too busy doing your work to care. Thank you so much for watching.